Hi, and welcome back to this final part on FastAPI and HTMX. In this final part of the series, we're just going to go through and make some improvements using HTMX for our user experience. So we're going to include things such as like an infinite scroll for the post. We're going to make like a spinner bar for whenever we add a post, disable elements after a post is outgoing from our client, and various miscellaneous improvements like that that just kind of make the website feel a little bit more polished. So let's hop into it. So the first improvement that we're going to make is going to be implementing HX Boost. And so what this attribute will allow us to do is to boost up the normal anchors and form tags to Ajax instead. So basically, whenever the screen refreshes, you get that little flicker on a normal, when you click on a link or a post on a form on a, very basic HTML page. So this is going to prevent that flicker, but more additionally, it's only going to refresh the body of the HTML document. So everything that's in your in the head tags that won't be included. So for example, on our project here, and let's go to our base template. So for example, everything that's in this head right here, this won't be reloaded. So what I'm going to actually do is actually pull these scripts in right here so that we're not pulling them in. And actually, let me just go to our site and just show you how this is working first. So let's pull up the networking tab here. And if we go to network, and then if I click on this login, you'll see we get these 200 codes from HTMX, min.js, and JSON encoding.js. If I keep going between them, you can see those keep getting loaded in along with the Bulma, a whole bunch of other stuff that we really don't need to be loading every single time that we're clicking these links. So if we go here, and I'm going to move these out of the body and back into the head. So put these here. And then now let's go to our navigation bar. So pull up the nav bar. And all we need to do now is just put is an HX boost. And I should be able to just put it here on this main div, HX-boost. And I think that's all we got to do on here. Yep, so we just put HX boost is equal to true. HX boost is equal to true. And now let's save this. And now if we go back to our page, and then let's pull up our networking tab again here. And then let's try to pull up, click on the links here. So now we click on sign up. And so now you can see when we go to login, it's only doing one thing. So now we're not getting those repeated, calls coming back and in. So we're just literally getting the body now, and we're not pulling in the Bulma or the HTMX JavaScript anymore. So it basically saves us a little bit of back and forth over the wire from our server. So that should result in a little bit better of a user experience. So the next attribute that we're going to implement is called HX disabled ELT. And so what this attribute will let us do is go through and disable elements whenever a request is being made by HTMX. So in this case, for example, whenever we go to our button and we make add a post, and let me go back to the networking tab here just to slow things down a little bit. And let me pull this in, and let's bring it into, let's just do 4G here. And if I post page, and then you can see it's going to throttle the page loading a little bit. And if I make a post here, you'll see the post is outgoing right now, but no response is coming back. But from the user standpoint, they can still see that button. And let me just go here and upload an image just so it slows it down a little bit. And let's just put an image here. And then if I post it here, the user is still seeing this add post button. So ideally, we would like this to be disabled while that post is en route. So the easiest way to do that is just use this HX. So we'll say here HX dash HX disabled ELT, HTMX disabled dash ELT, and we'll say this is going to be equal to, and so for this one, I'm actually going to show you how to target the child elements of this form. So if we do find, this will do a CSS selector. So I can actually just give it the CSS name, and I just want to target that submit button. So that has the class of button. So I can just actually just say dot button, and that should target the button right here. And so now if we go back here, and let's try to refresh our page here. And if I try to add the post, now you'll see that this is grayed out, letting the user know, hey, that they can't add the post until they get the response back from the server. And so there we go. Now I got it back, and now we'll go back. And so the next thing we'll cover is going to be closely related to this. It's just going to be adding an indicator for like a spinner, so that the user knows that a post is processing. So we'll do that next. So in order to use a spinner, we'll use the attribute called HTMX indicator. So what this allows us to do is whenever we make a post, whatever we target in the attribute of the HTMX indicator, we'll get the HTMX request class put on it, which will display that element, in this case our spinner. And then we also give it the class of HTMX indicator, which gives it an opacity of 0. So basically it's invisible whenever we're normally pulled up. So let's go ahead and do that. But first we need to actually get a spinner. So I'm just going to type in free SVG spinners. And we can go here on this GitHub collection. And let's see if we can find one that looks good for us. And we can just do this one right here. SC, that guy looks okay. And let's see if we can find it the raw. And I'm just going to copy this link here. And let's go and let's see. So we'll need to make a new folder in our static. So let's go to static. And we'll call this spinners. So make dir spinners. cd to spinners. And then I'm just going to wget that link that we got here. So now we should have the spinner. Let me just open it so we can visualize it. And we can see our spinner there. Okay. So let's go back and to our project. And so now we'll go through and add an image here. So image, and we'll just put src is equal to src is equal to, and we'll give it the path. So we'll say static / spinners / let's see, what was it called? It was called 90-ring with bg.svg. And let me just make sure that it actually loads in our page. So let's go back to our page here and just reload it. And so now we see we get that spinner to show up. So let's go back and add that HTMX indicator. So we go here and we want to add an HTMX indicator, HTMX-indicator. And we want this to be the, we'll put it on the find image. And we'll go on here and we will put on there the class that we needed. So the class was equal to HX-indicator. Make sure I type that right. HTMX indicator. So HTMX indicator. And now if we go back, I think, let's see if this works out for us. So there we can see it's disappeared, and let me put the throttling back on just to slow it down a little bit here. So we'll just do 4G with just a little picture here. And let's add the post. You can see the spinner shows up. And then once the post is added, it should disappear here. And once the post was added, the spinner disappeared. So that's how you add spinners. Really short and easy to do. So the next feature we want to add is an infinite scroll. So whenever our users go into our home page and they go to the bottom, currently they're only going to get 10 posts. So what we want to do is just keep dynamically loading more and more posts as they keep scrolling down. And so there's a really easy way we can do that with HTMX with the HTMX trigger revealed. So first, let's go back to our app. And we want to go to our post root on here. And what we want to do is add a new parameter called the page. This could be a type of annotated. This could be an integer form element. And we're going to say it's equal to 0 by default. And so now when we go to our context and get post, we already have a parameter called page, so we just need to add that in here. Page is equal to page. And then actually we need to move, let me move this here. Okay. Okay, so now if we go back to our page, this should still work out and reload for us, which it does. So now we just need to go back and we'll actually add this context back into our context here. So right now we don't have the page in our context, so we'll just say context of page is equal to page. So this will allow our template to access which page we want to dynamically load in next. So we'll do that. And then now if we go to our post.html, we can include a new div, and we're going to give it a class, we'll give it an hxs trigger is going to be equal to revealed. And then we want to give it hx-swap will be equal to the outer HTML because we want to replace this entire div. And then the hx-get is going to be the route that we just did, so it's going to be the post. And we want to add in the values, so it's hx-vals, and we'll give it a short JSON-like dictionary here. And let me wrap these with single quotes. So we'll say the first one will be page, and we should just be able to access the page that we already have, so we can just give it here and just say the current page plus 1, and that's what we want to access. And so that will be our triggering element, and then we need to end the div, and that should be all we need to do. So let's go back on our page, reload it, and see if we get an infinite scroll here. And let's see, we did not get it, so let's see what's going on here in our networking tab. Reload it. And we got a 405 error on our get. So this is actually supposed to be post. We put the wrong root. So now let's reload it. And if we go down, we see we get an infinite scroll here. So now it keeps dynamically loading in content into our page. So that's how we implement an infinite load. Really simple. The last thing when we get to the end here though, we're going to have, and actually I think we got a bug here because it keeps loading in the same 10 pages. So the reason that we were getting the same page to keep reload over and over again was actually because if you go on here and you see on the requests, we actually don't have any payloads, so there's no form data in here. We're actually getting it in the actual URL, so it's actually part of the query. So we actually need to go back here and change our app to actually not use form data, it actually needs to use query data. And we need to actually import query. So go up here and input query from FastAPI. And then now if we go back, you'll see that this should work. So if we let's see, go back here, let's reload it. And then now, whenever we keep reloading it, we should see that we indeed get to the bottom of the page here. The next thing you'll know is that whenever we go to the bottom and there's no more pages left, we're just going to keep basically bogging our server down with more requests for pages. So we need to put it in there. Basically, if there's no more pages, we just need to return nothing to our return nothing from our server. So let's go back to our app. And so we'll need to go down here on our post and basically say the context of our post, if the length of our context of our post is equal to 0, then we'll just return none. And then since that's incompatible with our type, we can just return, we'll just return an empty div. And that's still incompatible with our type. So on here, we're just going to go on here and just say response model is equal to none. I'll just bypass the that, and this will be this, or a we'll do a string. So we can return either one. Actually, we'll just go back and put none, and this will be none. Okay, so now if we go back, that should fix our issue here. So let's refresh our page, and then just scroll all the way down to the bottom here. And then we get like a null pointer here. Not really the most elegant, but we're not bogging down our server anymore. You'd probably, in an actual one, you'd probably just want to put like a special HTML template that says like end of post or something like that. But for now, I'm just going to leave it right here. So that's all we're going to do for this feature. The next and final one that we're going to do on this video is just going to be adding a modal, so that whenever we add a post right now, we just get this post added here. But let's make this a little bit better with a little modal that splashes on the screen and then disappears after a few seconds, letting the user know that they were able to add the modal. So to add the modal, let's go back to our add post HTML template. And on this post added, what we want to do is we'll just get rid of this for now. So let's just delete this. And we want to go to Bulma and add in a new modal. So let's go to Bulma, modal. And what we want to do is add a modal, a card modal. So we'll just copy this little snippet here and let's put it into our project. So let's copy and paste it, and then we can actually visualize this. To actually show the modal, we need to put it on the class as isActive. So we'll put it as isActive, and then if we go back to our website and refresh the page, you'll see we get this modal here, but we're not going to want to do this. All we want to do is just have a header that shows post added and basically nothing else. So let's go back here and we'll keep the header, we'll keep the P element, but we don't need this close button, and then we really don't need any of these other sections here, so we'll get rid of those. So that's what we want. And then on here we want to put has text success, and then has text dash centered, and then we'll change the tag to be post added exclamation mark. And now let's go back, see how that visualizes. And so this is what the user will see when the post is added, which is what we want. So now we just need to go back and make it close after 3 seconds. So this is really going to be the only part of the project that I do any sort of JavaScript, because in this case it's actually appropriate. I'm just going to do it in line. So I'm just going to put a script tag here, and then end it. And what we're going to do is set a timeout after 2 seconds. So I'll do here, and we needed to give it a function as a first argument. So I'm just going to do an arrow function here in JavaScript and just say I'm going to get document dot get element by ID, and we'll say this is going to be the add post added modal, and on that we want to get the class list, and we want to toggle the is active. So we'll go here, we need to give it the ID. So we'll give this as ID is equal to post added modal. And then on here, that's all we need to do on this. And then we just need to set the timeout time. We'll give it 2 seconds, which is going to be, these are milliseconds, so we'll give it 2000. And then let's see if we go back to our page and refresh it. And let's see if it, let's see here, refresh. And let's see, we must have messed up our JavaScript here. So yeah, I didn't give this the right name here. Let's give it the ID is correct. And let's try that again. And now you can see it flashes off after a few seconds. So the last thing we need to do is just only put this element in there whenever we actually added a post. So we can just go back and we'll just put on here on our templating engine, if post added. And we want to do all this. And if. And then if we go back to our page here, let's see, oops. And let's see, I messed something up here. I think this is supposed to be right here. And let's try that again. Okay, so now we get it. And then now if we add our post, it'll flash it here, and after 2 seconds it disappears. And so yeah, that's how you add the modal, and that's how you can add a little JavaScript onto your client side, just to make it a little bit more dynamic. So that's it for this part 9 of this FastAPI and HTMX. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. Unless there's any major features that you guys want to see added, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll take a look at it and potentially keep adding on to this playlist. But I think for now, I think I'm gonna start moving on to some other projects. So thank you for following along. If you really like the content, please let me know. It really helps me out. Keep chugging along. Be sure to smash that like button and leave a comment down below for any other, if you want to see features added on here or any other things that you'd like to see me talk about next. Be sure to let me know. Thank you. Bye.